Soji-Oyawoye, a transformational life coach and a sociologist by training, who equips leaders with the requisite LEAD tools to deliver results with excellence. BC serves as the lead consultant and CEO of B Causative Limited, a professional training and coaching company. She worked in the oil and gas sector for 30 years in various capacities, serving across various organizations. Her life story is tagged from secretary to CEO. She started her career in 1988 as an executive secretary to the MD of Chevron International Representative and retired in 2017 in a managerial capacity. BC is the founder of Clarity Design Hub. She is the creator of the Five Alive Signature Transformation Program, FAST, and author of BC Attitudes, a 31-day devotional. She also serves as a senior ambassador of the European Business University in Luxembourg, an advisory board member of the Dorcas Cancer Foundation for Children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome BC Soji-Oyawoye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Mrs. A, you know I love you. Okay. Talk about being tested in the very thing that you want to talk about. This is not the way I brushed my wig when I was coming. But when I was tested and tried, in fact, I want us to celebrate the people at the back. You don't know what they are doing there. Ibrahim, Tosin, IK. My laptop shut down. And I was like, I have to play a video. But when I saw Jason's, this is not a Nigerian thing now. Wherever he is, they shut down. So, but I was beginning to wonder, these are people from Maramoko Ekiti following me. Life will test you. And that's why I like this edition, Resilience Edition. Like Mrs. A said, I'm twinning with my twin. If you've been following me, you'll be seeing that my post about 2 EDs, 1 emotional resilience. I just chose to share my daughter's story. When Mrs. A called me, I was 3 days to her graduation. And her life is what I want to share. Can I have the first slide up, please? Slide 1. Don't worry if I'm emotional. I need to be sometimes. But we all are emotional people. Okay. This girl is my story of emotional resilience. She posted that thing on the day of her graduation. When I saw it, I wept. And I tried to put her 8.5 years in the UK into 5 minutes that I'll play a video for you. But if you can see, if you can see that one, 2014, she was supposed to graduate. She'll tell you the story in the video. But take note of the first year in part 2, retake 1 attempt. Second year, retake 4 attempts. This is architecture we are talking about. And at one point I said, it's enough. You don't have to do it. Because I thought she was under pressure. My dad is an architect. I have 2 siblings who are architects. When they chose architecture, I didn't like it for selfish reasons, financial reasons. 3 years, when you can choose sociology, why go into 6 years? Hard currency. And she told me, that's what I want. Okay. During her BSc, she had a flatmate, I think, on the last year. And I was in America one day, and I received a call from her at a strange time, and she was weeping. I said, what is going on? And she said, my flatmate just beat me up. What? As a mother, I flipped. Who is this human being? Or being? I don't know if they are human. I left America the next day, went to Glasgow. She was, where are you? She says she's in the loft. And this is winter in Glasgow. Where is she? What happened? They had an argument and she went into the kitchen and took a knife or something. And I said, okay, just run for dear life first of all. Call the police, do whatever you have to do. By the time I saw my daughter in London, she was, when you see a black person, black and blue, you know that beating must have been severe. How does your classmates do that to another human being? When she graduated in BSc, she didn't do her graduation until June 2020 COVID year. So she was the only one in Glasgow. It was such a tough 3-4 years. Let me know when it's playing. Such a tough 3-4 years that she kept pushing. During that BSc, she lost her best friend to depression. Somebody called her up and said, so is dead. And she called me and she was screaming. And I'm like, okay. From then on, up until recently, because this girl's birthday was December 1, and she was still like, Mom, I still miss her. And I'm like, okay, how do you want to begin to... Look, there's no manual for this thing. We are all trying to figure it out. I don't know about Mrs. C, whether she has issues. No, I don't know. But me, I have issues. And the Bible says, in this world you will have tribulation. It didn't even say problem. Tribulation. But be of good cheer. I have overcome, and I can testify to that. After the burial, my daughter struggled and had a late graduation. June 2020. She was the only one in Glasgow. And she said, Mom, don't bother coming. I'll do a Zoom graduation. Fine. Because we knew what she had gone through. When she put the graduation together, she invited all those she wanted to invite, about 25 people, including my friends. She didn't even tell me. And all she wanted to do was sing praise to God. And she sang her heart out, and all of us were bawling on the Zoom call. And I said, wow. We thought it would end there. Into the masters. The June 2020 grad was with honors, even though she had one retake. By the time she finished her masters and she requested for her certificate, they had withdrawn the honors. Ready? Okay. Let's tell you her story in 4 minutes, 8.5 years in 4 minutes, and then I'll take it from there. So she designed that by herself. That was the invitation for all our friends. And look at that, even a sigh is a prayer. I'll tell you about that, just remind me. Okay.
Tani mo tún fi gbogbo ọpẹ́ mi fún. Ọlọ́run tó dá wọn òkè ìgbàanì, ẹ̀yin ni mo fi ọpẹ́ mi fún. Jehovah, who created all the ancient hills, Lord, to you alone If not you alone, my King, who on earth could I give all my praise to? Jehovah, who created all the ancient hills, Lord, to you alone I give all my praise. Oh, Jehovah, who created all the ancient hills, Lord, to you alone I give all my praise. Oh.
So I'm finally taking you guys on my journey through architecture school.
This is the master's one.
It's graduation day and I'm not even excited or proud. At this moment, I felt defeated, undervalued, and frankly annoyed. This was supposed to take 6 years, 2014 to 2020. It's 2022, so you can imagine. I ended up repeating both years of my postgraduate degree, with my final submission needing 4 attempts to get right. In case you're wondering what the big deal is here, I had never failed at anything before up until architecture school. But we'll take a break to watch Ange graduate.
Angiola Lua are soji-oyawoye.
And we're back. Prior to uni, I was the best graduating student in high school. In A-levels, I got 3 A stars with 100% aggregate. Well, one of the modules was 98%, but who's counting? Point is, I had never failed before, and I realized that I was struggling to value my graduation because I had failed before the win. However, I also failed to realize that life is never experienced in isolation. In that time, I was physically assaulted, I lost my best friend to depression, and a shitload of other things. But Ange still made it. I'm proud.
Thank you. Next slide, please. When she said she lost her friend to depression, she had never failed in anything, and that's so true. She was the best in her class all the way until she got to Glasgow. In fact, I strongly believe there's village people in Glasgow. There's no way. And I will tell, next slide, please. Next slide after that video. Okay, here you go. Yeah, this one. So I want to use her life story. And if you know me, I love acronyms because me and my way to here. So I have to find a way to remember stuff. And she had, I have her permission to use her story. We both sat down and went through the emotions. The R was realization of who she was and whose she was. She lost faith in God. After that rendition of the song, anytime I listen to it, I'm always crying because I knew what she was going through. But she lost faith in God, and she talked to my brother, who is the pastor, that, look, uncle, I can't even pray. God has failed me. And my brother said, even a sigh is a prayer. You don't have to talk. God sees your heart. And so when you don't find the strength to pray, know that he sees your heart. Slide up, please. So the realization of who you are and who... Okay. I was wondering what happened. Okay, this is the first one. I'll talk about the issues. Rejection. She felt rejected. Her friends rejected her. Reproach. My goodness. The rage. She got angry at every point. She felt so empty. And then the shock of I've never failed before. Biggest one was the shame. And all these emotions were not just her. The entire family was going through it. That shame was loud. And Onyinka will touch on that. She was so sad, but this SAD is an acronym for what I found out she was going through. I had to stay with her for 4 months. I think I told Auntie, and Auntie said, look, you need to go. Thank God I went in December 2020. Lockdown happened, and we were there together. That's another story, because we wanted to deck each other. But thank God I was there. That was when I knew what they called seasonal affective disorder, where when the winter comes, it's so cold. And those people, it's not that they're not friendly. It's the situation of the weather that makes them like that. Everywhere is dull, especially in Glasgow. Dark at 1 p.m. And I'm wondering, how do you even read in this cold? In Nigeria, that is hot. I didn't pass. Slide, please. So, there was a lot of, no, back. Intimidation. She felt inadequate, insecure, loss. Plenty of losses. Friends. She lost her self-esteem. I had a very confident child. She lost her faith. She was lonely. And then the identity crisis began. Mom, I don't even know whether I can or I can't. I said, but you know you can. This I'm telling you is 8.5 years in 4 minutes, so I can't do justice. Her inner critic, the voices that were talking to her in her head. Because we always have those voices that will say you can't. Forget the people around you that are even telling you. But the worst one is when you are telling yourself. She was exhausted. I had another word for E here. She said, Mom, no. I was exhausted. That her neck that you saw that was thin like that, Zoom made it bigger. She almost disappeared. Negativity, oh my God. She was saying all sorts of negative things. I call them ants, automatic negative thoughts. Anytime they just slip into your mind and you say it, she began to compare. Mind you, her mates had graduated because she was doing architecture. Some of them had married. So she began to compare. My mates have, and she was what would I call the old ones in their set. And then, of course, ego issues. Next slide. Okay, hold on. Resilience is a muscle. Flex it enough, yeah. And it will take less effort to get over the emotional punches each time. When Jason spoke, he spoke about flexing it. This is not about Kiss Daniel, I want to flex. You have to flex that resilience muscle, not just emotionally, in every area of your life. Financially, spiritually, relationally. Boy, you will be tested. Next slide. Okay, so these are the positives. She had to come back to that realization of who she is and whose she is. Whenever you are trying to lose your identity, and I'm telling you, it happens to the best of us. You are seeing me here with wig. You don't want to know what has gone on over this weekend. But anytime I know in my knower that God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. Of course, she sought a remedy, therapy. When she mentioned it, African mother, I said, Laye is for mental cases. And that's what most of us as Africans do these days. We are so, I don't know about this mental, in fact, by the time she went through therapy, I said, I need to go through therapy because I'm traumatized. It's not only you. What's that other word there? Oh yeah, please. Mrs. A spoke about relationships. There are some relationships that you have had forever. Not just the ones you meet in halls like this. Important thing, find at least one person to share with. Just one person. That helps a great deal. Elastic mind, that's about the flexing again. You must be open to options. And mind you, it's not easy. We worked and worked on this inner man. You must understand your strengths and your weaknesses. I do the DISC assessments. I think Felicia Wedamozzi does Clifton Strength Finder. Whatever you want to use. Know what you are good at. That won't carry that through. Because each time I say, Angela, it's enough. She says, Mom, I'm not an architect because of you. And so anytime we even said stop, it offended her. So we have to be careful. The scars will be there. But you need to turn those scars to stars. And I say God created each one of us as stars. S for skills, T for talents, A for abilities, and R for resources. Do you know your skills and talents? Because when life tests you, you will need to fall back to those ones. Internal verification. She valued external validation over internal verification. You must value you. Her professors hit her till the end. When she said she failed 4 times, I said, no, you banged. Banged 4 times. In fact, she had to come to Nigeria to do 3 because they locked her out of school. And she said, I will still do it. But she picked a job while she was here, and she did it together. Oh. Love you. Love you. Interpersonal relationships, I've spoken about that. Who is in your inner circle? Who is on your personal board of directors that you can confide in? That you can cry to? Come. There's no shame in crying. You saw I just cried. It's part of this. When we are puffing and forming, and the day you will break down. Enhance yourself and have emotional awareness by building self-compassion and empathy. Don't be too hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself. And be kind to other people as well. Everybody is going through stuff. I don't care who you are. Everybody is going through some. When she said there a shitload of other things, plenty shitload. Just because some of us carry it well does not mean it's not heavy. Mrs. A said it, the lives on Instagram. Social media is social murder. It can be used for good, which she told me. She said, Mom, at a point I shut down social media. NSAS came, my daughter was NSAS from Glasgow. I was like, oh, my twin. But that's how they felt in that generation. Never waste a crisis. I'll talk about that later. And she said, Mommy, this C is for choice. I said, what do you mean? She said, every morning when I struggle to wake up, because it became a chore to wake up, she told herself, Angela, you have a choice to crawl back into bed or to get up and go. It takes resilience to be able to tell yourself that, especially when you are in the hole. It takes a lot of resilience. I watched her in the 4 months I was there, and I was like, this girl worked so hard. She worked so hard. But remember, she received shock because she had never failed. Failure is part of the journey. It is what you do with that failure that matters. Enter into the fullness of your PVG. She told me, Mom, for every time you told me stop, it's okay, I told myself, I know why I went into architecture. Do you know your why? Because it's your why that will sustain you when the storm starts. Your purpose is your why. Why you do what you do. What on earth are you on earth for? She understood that assignment, and that one didn't shake. V is your visions. Your vision is simply a picture of your future. But you cannot feature in that future that you do not picture. And the G is for the goals that you set. I looked at her wall in Glasgow, and she had goals. Even me that I'm coaching, I don't have this type of goals. That's the kind of person she was. So you can imagine how painful it was every time she called and said, Mom, I failed again. I will cry when I drop the phone, but I will tell her it's okay. What do you want to do? In our own time, they don't ask you what do you want to do. Bloody hell, go back. That's how my dad would have put it. I'll bloody paying your school fees. Go and do it. Not in this generation. So you must understand. And I have 2 children. Both of them studied architecture to my financial detriment. Both of them struggled. But now they have found their paths. Next slide. So I've talked about that. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. You know, I talked about never waste a crisis. During that time, she did not stop. She started a business in between the shithole. She started the second, so her first business was 423. And she said, I said, what's 423? She said, Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. I said, how did you come up? And she said, Mom, so that's why she ended up in Glasgow. She loves art and she likes architecture. And she wanted a school of art that would offer architecture. That's why we went to Glasgow. And she said, this brand is called From Heart to Art. It's called emotional art. AS is Angela Soji-oyawoye. That's her logo that started. And now she has morphed into Architecting with Ange. She's on Instagram. Those two are on Instagram. She also became John Maxwell certified. In between. Emotional intelligence certified with Onikosola. In fact, she started it while she was there, and then she just finished it the day she was supposed to be graduating. So she came in one day early. And I was like, how do you even begin to do all of? I would have left this matter. Look for something else. That's not my portion. But because she knew her why, she knew what she wanted, all this happened. Next slide, please. Those are just samples of the work she did while she was here doing that master's, while she failed and banged. I call her Akabanga. Failed and banged, but she was doing what she wanted. Because turn your pain into purpose. Don't let the pain waste. Because if you're going to go through pain, enjoy some of it. Next slide. She's a member of okay, so that top one is a mural she did for Wema Bank. The bottom one is, she just finished this project last week in one orphanage in Ikeja. And we live in VGC. This girl drives in this traffic situation to Ikeja and back every day to go and paint Ludo on the floor for orphans. And I'm like, can't you just get somebody to say, Mom, from heart to art? The orphans didn't allow the paint to dry because they were too excited. So as soon as she left, they jumped on the thing. And they called her back. And she was like, that's fine. Those other ones are for a project in Makoko. This NGO that she did with Do Good Africa. And she's channeling her pain. Did I put the professor's name on the altar of fire? Yes. Because what God cannot do. So I don't know who you serve, and I don't know who you are and whose you are. Whoever that person is, that's your anchor. Because I could have broken down. I'm sure I needed therapy. But somebody's got to be strong for somebody. But in the process of being strong, self-care, self-love. This girl, all her friends were dumping on her their own emotional problems. They didn't realize she had issues. And she was collecting and collecting. That's one of the reasons she took that certification with Onyeko. Last slide, please. So I just came up with 10 hours of resilience. Nothing major. Easy. Find time to rest. I'm just coming in from Ekwe. I took a 2-day retreat. Find time to rest your mind. Relax. Refocus. Remember that one. Review. Reframe your attitude. Why did she have to jump up from bed and say, okay, there's a difference between good morning, Lord, and good Lord, it's morning. There's a big difference. Reset, rejuvenate, revive yourself. Renew, tap into the power of purpose and re-enter. Life is in session. There's no vacation from life unless you relocate. Not a jackpot, a final relocation. But even if you want to jackpot to the UK, wherever, Canada, if you do not build that muscle of resilience, any country you go to, you will be tested. Who would have thought my daughter would be tested in the UK? I was running from Nigeria University problem. When they're far away in another city, it's just something else. So be ready. Build your muscles in the gym of life. That's why I talk about your 5 alive. The 5 key areas of your life. Your faith, your spirituality, and your oneness with God. Your family, your relationships, your friendships, your partnerships, your collaborations. Your fitness, physical fitness, mental fitness, emotional fitness. You need resilience in all of these areas. I'm talking about mental and emotional. I keep saying it. In this Nigeria, we still haven't gotten a hold of mental health because we are still stigmatizing until it happens to you. People are not committing suicide because they like it. They're going through stuff. Just be kind to people. You don't even know their story. This retreat I went to, I thought I had problems. When I heard other people, I said, because you think the world is all about you. It's not. For my mental and physical health, I use Onyekonsola Alabi's Soul Stripper. It's how I try and maintain stability in an unstable world. It's like a journal. And if you don't journal, just get an exercise book. If you don't journal, please try. So I've given you 3 F's. What did I say? Fitness. 4th one, your finances. That's the freedom and the flow of your time and money. It's not about how much money you have in the bank. Some people have money in the bank and their health is outside. Some people are financially rich and emotionally bankrupt. You need resilience in every area of your life. And the last is what I call flourish. That's your personal growth, your career, your professional growth, because I believe that the you that is not growing personally will sabotage that one that is growing professionally. I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince you, not confuse you, that you need to build resilience in every area of your life.
Well, BC, I have a surprise for you. How many people know I love surprises? See, I need all of you to stand up and give Angela a standing ovation. She's a bold young woman. I'm so proud of her. Proud of her and her mother. And their gift of sharing the story so that everyone else can benefit from it. And from knowing that, look, in life we will have challenges. And sometimes it happens to the very best of us. And no matter how smart and brilliant we are, stuff will happen. But when it does, what do you do with it? It's not that it will not happen. Some in your marriages, some at work, some early enough at school. It happens to all of us. We all went through stuff. Some girls get raped. Do they get away from it? Some people's parents go broke in the middle of it, and then they go through God knows what. All kinds of things happen. But guess what? We're bigger than every trial and every situation. And that's Angela's message to you. That you know what? She's not ashamed or embarrassed by what she's been through. She has been what? Through it. She's not stuck in it. And so no matter what you're going through right now, no matter what the challenges are, put on your thinking cap. Stretch your hand and ask for help. Receive all the support that you can get. Find your support club. Find your tribe. Find the voices that will hold you through. No one is an island. There are no superwomen. And don't fake it. You know that thing, fake it till you make it, is a lie. Don't fake it. Be real and find the strength in it. That is what this story is about. You know, as we decide on who to speak in each area, we always pray about it. And I ask the Lord to lead us. And I didn't even know that she would share this story. You know, but I am so touched by the gift of Angela's story and the gift of life. Because what she has shown you is she's young. Maybe most of you are older than she is. but she survived it and she's telling her story. Also, learn to give from your experiences. Make your pain a gain, not just for you, but for other people. And you'll make the world a better place. Let's put our hands together again for the soji-oyawoyes. She wants to say one word. Yeah.
Mrs. A, first of all, you are not my friend again.
Yeah. You know, I'm used to this. The
Hi, everyone.
the global
Good
good
evening.
is bigger. Yes.
I actually didn't know I'll make it, but then I realized that Mom was speaking about me, and I stood at the back. And this wasn't planned at all. There's a lot that I heard her say, and I'm like, yeah, that actually happened. I couldn't even remember that I went through that. But what I came to say, Mom, is I learned resilience from you. She's not joking when she says she cried. I didn't know, but Auntie Inka told me. Every single time I would call.
Mother's older sister.
Yeah, I would call. She wouldn't let me know that she got upset by it or that she was worried. She would go to her sister, who would tell my cousin, who would tell me, and then so at a point I stopped saying things. But then when she came for those 4 months, I saw my mom watch me break down time after time after time after time. And not once did she break down in front of me. Not once did she let me know she was worried. Until I handed in 2 years later, not once did she let me know she was worried. I learned resilience from you. And I learned emotional intelligence in its early stage from you as well. I brought a card. I didn't know we were that many here. I hope as many people can get it, but I have it later. What it says is, everyone has emotions. The more you clearly or correctly label, analyze, engage with your emotions, the more in control you become. I used to run away from my emotions. I used to be very worried, very scared, very anxious. In fact, I was seeing a therapist for social anxiety, and I'm talking here. So it's as little as literally being patient with yourself, watching your own emotions. No one else can tell you how you feel. You feel those emotions, so don't throw them away. Analyze them, label them correctly. Why I say correctly, I found out that a lot of the times I thought I was anxious, I was excited. A lot of the times I thought I was worried, I was surprised. The name you give to your emotions really matters. And then it says, protect your heart. That's where it all begins. Yeah.
Hands together again. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. A. Thank you, Angela. You will pay for my eyelashes.
Don't worry. I'll pay for more than eyelashes. Let's put our hands together as we welcome Oyin Konsola.